Last month, I did an unscientific poll on my Instagram feed, and I did a couple of stories following up after I got the results. Take a look at it, and I'll be back after you look at it in about 3 or 4 minutes.
I'm going to do another video after this one. However, I'm just going to say this. Trolls came in and wreaked havoc on this poll. So I have to go through, do the numbers myself, and here's where we're at. P.S. Everybody who voted in this small sample size was indeed black. These are some of the replies that I got in the past 24 hours. Read at your leisure. I'll be back with another video after this one. So the small sample size says that 70% of the people who voted, and it was a good number of y'all who voted, had either a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctorate. And that was not supposed to happen in this country. Granted, a friend told me this yesterday as well, side conversation, that this country did not know what to do with us after slavery, after we became free. I've said, and you see in the last slide, that Obama is the glitch in the system that caused everything to fall apart. Yes, I voted for Obama twice. Yet I understand what his election meant for us, and wasn't a good thing. Let me expound on that thought just a tad bit further. I have always said this phrase. The Republicans have been playing chess, especially since Nixon resigned. We're playing chutes and ladders. They're planning for 50 years down the road. We're planning for Saturday night. They're plotting after the '08 election. We're celebrating after the '08 election. That hopefully tells you the mindset of why we are in the space we are in right now, in part. Hopefully y'all understand all those analogies.
Let's make it clear. It's not solely Obama's fault. Whatever black person became president, male or female, the same thing would have happened, unfortunately. Now, with all that said, we have an education problem here in the United States, especially with our African American black millennials, younger millennials, and Gen Zers. In this particular clip right here, you have Joe Biden, who said a couple of days ago in his federal address that we are looming at oligarchy here in the United States. I'll go one further. We're looking at a dictatorship. How do I know? I actually read the books. I actually understand history. I actually read the history. Not too hard to figure out. History always repeats itself. On Martin Luther King's actual birthday, Dr. Bernice King chimed in and said things that anger some people. And the only reason it angered them because they don't know the history, or they got taught the sanitized version of history. Take a look for yourself. Then go research. And here are my thoughts that I posted, and a friend of mine chimed in on that. We both have masters, by the way. Now, my freshman year of college, something happened in a IH class, Integrated Arts and Humanities class, that one of my boys came home or came back to the dorm and told us. I can't remember who actually said this. Was it T Dot or was it his roommate? One of them came back from their integrated arts and humanities class, and they said, and I quote, "There was an argument in our class today. One white girl asked, 'Why do they have BET? Why don't we have white entertainment television?' And one black girl said, 'Because you have all the other channels on the TV.'" This is 1999, by the way. And when I heard that, first of all, I cracked up. Second of all, it lit a spark under me because it actually taught me that, number one, not everybody has an equal education. And number two, so many rural, suburban school districts do not want to teach our history. So when they step on campus, they're already behind the eight ball when it comes to the truth and the facts about our history. So that leads me to think, what are they trying to do starting after Inauguration Day? They want to dumb down the education system. They want to destroy higher education. Too many of us have degrees. Too many of us got the education. Too many of us have the knowledge. And I can say that unequivocally because one of my god babies told me that they don't teach about anything past Martin Luther King when it comes to Black History Month or civil rights now at the school I attended years ago. This young lady, we had a talk, and I went through what I taught my kids in high school about 20 years ago, and what I learned at the same school about 35 years ago. And she told me they didn't get taught about none of that, which is a bit shocking considering that the school district is primarily black. And representation clearly matters and is actually well represented in that school. So what gives? I'm not sure what gives in that district, but I can definitely tell you what gives in another district. Changing slaves to migrant workers is diabolical work. I'm sorry. And I was upset when I heard that you're going to try to make the change in 2010, 2011 while I was living in Texas, and got really irate when this article came out about a decade ago. I got a whole bunch more to say on this topic, and I can literally go maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours on this, but we're going to cut it where it is right now. I would say this. What we need to do, we need to educate our kids. We need to get them the proper education that we got. Some of us taking advantage of us. Some of us did not. But regardless, we have to preserve our history, and that's not being done. And we have to shout from the rooftops about the stuff that we learned, not just in school, but for our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. Because they preserved a lot of history, at least in my family, and some of the families that I know, to the point that there's no excuse for us not to understand our history. So what I'm saying is education is really key, and we need to hold all of us to that particular standard.